Hey everyone, Zoraz here from Not Casuals. Today I'm bringing you a video about Hu Tao, one of the next 5-star character that is rumored to be coming in patch 1.3 in Genshin Impact. Now there has been a lot of speculation and I have mentioned some of the details about Hu Tao in my weekly updates video, but there has been new information where we have learned all about her skills and her constellation as well as some of her ability scaling. So we'll go right into it and see what it looks like. Now, as always, I am using the website genshin.honeyunterworld, where is all the data mined information is gathered and posted pretty much first. It is one of the best websites for this kind of information, and the links are always in the description if you want to go and check it out for yourself. Now, obviously, this page is in beta. It is not something that is released yet. This is data mined from the realms of the test servers, so we do not know exactly how this will end up in the end, but this gives us a good idea of what to expect. Now we can see obviously all of her base HP, base attack, and so on. She has a very high base HP but a pretty low base attack, as well as her ascension material, which I just covered in my previous video, where she is using one of the new boss material that will drop from the new boss in 1.3, as well as Xiao, who also is using that material. She will be gaining crit damage when she levels up. So at level 90, she will be getting 88% crit damage as a bonus, which is absolutely insane of a buff for a character to get passively. So this is going to be a very interesting and very strong character for sure. Now, if we go down here, you can see that a lot of the effects has been discovered, but it is obviously all in Chinese because it is where it's data mined from. But we have translation for all of this, so we'll go and look it over in details, though keep in mind that the translation is a little bit rough, so some of the words are slightly wrong, but the meaning of it seems to be pretty correct. So this is just a preview of what Hu Tao might look like. There might be some changes, but this gives us a really good idea, and spoiler alert, she looks like she's going to be very powerful. So the first thing, the attack talent, this is the normal attack. She is going to be a spear user, so she will do 6 consecutive attacks. Now it will also have a thump, which is the charge attack, which is going to be similar to Zhongli, where she charges in a line and does damage to enemy in the path. Now you also will see that she has a fall attack, which is the basic, and the scaling is all revealed here. Now the scaling on her regular attack seems pretty straightforward. It is not values that are out of this world. It is pretty similar to other spear users, but most of her damage is actually not going to be coming from these values. It's going to be coming from her abilities. So if we're going to right into the first ability, the elemental skill, which is going to be called Butterfly Leads to Life, probably something different when it actually is translated in the game. Now this is going to be a very interesting ability. Now one thing to realize about this is that activating it will cost 30% of Hu Tao's HP when used, so you will lose 30% of your HP. Now if we look over what this ability does, now when it says walnut, it means Hu Tao. The translation for Hu Tao in Chinese somehow becomes walnut in English, so that's interesting. But basically, based on the maximum HP of Hu Tao when entering this state, so her max HP in general, you will increase her attack power. Now this means the attack statistic. The attack gain this way is increased, but by a maximum of 300% of her basic attack power. So that is her base attack. So for example, a level 90 character using a level 90 spear will have somewhere between 700 and 800 base attack. Now this means that you can gain 2,400 more attack as a bonus depending on her max HP, which is obviously insane. You will need a crazy high amount of max HP in order to achieve that, but still the potential for her to do a lot of damage is incredible, which is going to be one of the reasons why Hu Tao will probably be a very powerful main DPS carry, or at least a bruiser DPS in the next patch. So while you are using this elemental skill, you will also convert your normal damage to fire damage, which is obviously a very big bonus, which means that when you have this buff on from the ability, you will be doing fire damage or pyro damage, which is incredible and might make the Crimson Witch of Flames the best set on her, as it is generally the best set on any power user right now. Now there's also another effect to this ability. It's called Blood Plum, which basically means that you are giving a debuff to enemies and they will receive pyro damage every 4 seconds. It is regarded as elemental skill damage, so it would be boosted by some items, and you can only have one of those on enemies, so probably similar to Child with a Riptide, you're putting a debuff on them and it does damage over time. Now you will be able to apply this debuff when doing heavy hits. So this is the charge attack of Hu Tao. So when you charge attack, you will apply the Blood Plum debuff on all enemies hit. So that is going to be another way of increasing her damage like crazy. And lastly, this also will improve her ability to resist interruptions. So when you are in this stance or with this buff on, you will be resisting interruption, you will be converting your physical damage to power damage, you will be getting attack based on your max HP, and you will be able to apply a debuff that does power damage to enemies. Now, all in all, this seems like an insanely powerful ability for an insanely powerful character, and the scaling is all here. So the activation cost is 30% and the attack increase is up to 7.75% of your max HP. So as I said earlier, you can get probably more than 2000 attack on her, but that will require many tens of thousands of HP for it to be 7%. But in any case, late game builds will most likely see an insane amount of attack buff from this. This also shows you the damage of the Blood Plum, which is pretty decent considering that it's a debuff that you apply basically for free, and the duration is 8 seconds. And the duration of this entire ability is 9 seconds with a 16 seconds of cooldown. So all in all, a very insane ability that will let her do very high amount of damages for 9 seconds while this ability is up. Now next we have the ult, which is called Godsuitor for now, and this is going to be an interesting ability which will have to do with the ghost that we see in her art. Now she will most likely be casting the ghost, and it will be causing a large area of fire element damage around her, so maybe something similar to Xiangling. Now on top of that, this ability, the ult, will make it so that when it's hitting enemies, you will be restoring Hu Tao's health based on her maximum health. So basically this will heal you while doing damage depending on how much health you have. Now lastly, if her HP is lower or equal to 50% when the skill hits, it will do more damage and more healing. So basically this ult will be AoE fire damage hitting up to 5 targets that will heal you, and if you have low HP, it will heal you even more and deal even more damage. Now we can look at the scaling of this ability. Now of course it starts at 200% but goes up pretty quickly up to 400-500%, up to 600 maximum, which is a very high scaling. To be honest, it's pretty good damage. And if you look at the skill damage at low health, now the percentage is like basically 80% difference almost. So you have a very high amount of damage bonus when she's low HP. At level 15, this would be 760 instead of 611, so 150 something percent more damage. So obviously the lower HP this character is, the more damage she does. Now we already talked about this in my other video where there's going to be a weapon that comes out that will increase HP and give more damage for low HP characters. So it's basically her weapon, which will work very well with her. Now additionally, you will also be getting the skill HP regeneration. So this is what is going to be healing you for. Now the cooldown for this skill is 15 seconds. And the energy cost is 60, so pretty decent. 60 is not that high, and 15 seconds is pretty low. Now the only thing that we do not have here is how long this ability lasts, which I believe might be because this only works up to 5 enemy hit. So I think what this means is that after you've hit 5 enemies, this will stop and you'll have to cast it again if you want it again. So this might mean that you can only heal a certain amount and do a certain amount of damage, but 5 enemies being hit for this amount of damage and healing you for 5, 6, 7, 10% HP, that's a very powerful ability. And every 15 seconds, that is very low cooldown for something this powerful. Now next we have the passive talents. Now of course the cooking one will be having an extra chance of giving you strange quality food. Now we don't know what that means, but that's interesting because it's any kind of food cooking, so that will be good. Now for the next passive, basically after your butterfly dance state, so after your elemental skill has expired, it will be giving critical strike rate to all characters in the team, excluding herself, so she will not be getting this buff, but every other character in your party will be getting 12% crit rate for 8 seconds, which means that you'll basically be casting the elemental skill on you, getting buffed, doing a lot of damage. Then when it's over and it's on cooldown, you'll be switching to other characters, and these characters will have extra crit rate of 12% for 8 seconds. So amazing synergy for any kind of teams. This is going to be very good. Now lastly, when Hu Tao's HP is equal to 50% or less, her pyro damage bonus is increased by 25%. Now we already knew about this and we already talked about this in my previous video, but this again just amplifies the fact that she is going to be a very powerful character that will do a lot of damage based on having high HP and based on having low HP while fighting. So this will make it that she is going to be a character that will benefit from having shielding units in the team to prevent her from getting more damage and dying, but not healing her fully so that she can keep doing more damage. Now, the last thing I will cover is the constellation. Now, the translation on the constellation is a little bit rough. Some of it is a bit hard to understand. So her first constellation here is a bit unclear, but from what I can gather, heavy blow means charge attack and energy means stamina. So this is going to be something that makes it so her charge attacks do not consume stamina when she's inside of her butterfly dance. I'm not sure if it's going to be limited to 1 or 2, maybe the first one. It'll be something that we'll have to find out more when we have a better translation. Now, the second constellation will hit so the damage caused by blood plum, so again that's her debuff that she applies by doing charge attacks, will be increased by 4% of the maximum health of Hu Tao when this effect is added. So my guess is that blood plum will do more damage based on her maximum health. So this is obviously going to be just extra damage applied on her debuff, which is obviously great as a straight damage buff. Now, of course, this one is going to be giving her 3 levels, as same as this one for the E and the ult. Now, the fourth constellation looks a lot like her passive talent, basically meaning that when the influence of a blood plum has killed a target or a target is defeated while having the blood plum debuff on them, the critical strike rate of all characters in the team, excluding herself once again, is increased by 12% for 15 seconds. Now, I'm guessing that this might stack with her other ability, which basically means that she would be giving 24% crit rate to her whole team for a period of time. Now, I'm not sure if the excluding herself thing is very true. I don't know how that would make a lot of sense, but in any case, this will be good to buff the entire party, and if it works on herself, it will be even better. But this is going to make it so that when she kills enemies, everybody gets more crit. So basically, she will allow your entire team to have a lot more crit rate for free by just having her in your party and using her. Of course, this is Constellation 4, but the other ability is not. Now, lastly, her 6th Constellation seems to be pretty damn broken. This means that when she drops lower than 25% HP, or when she suffers enough damage to die. So basically, when she gets low HP or simply dies, this will trigger. Now, this will make it so that she doesn't die, so it's kind of like a cheating death thing where she will die but technically not die, and instead for the next 10 seconds she will get elemental resistance, physical resistance, as well as sex, which I don't know what that means, and crit rate increased by 100% and 200%. So basically, which means that instead of dying, she will gain a buff that will make her more tanky and do more damage for a period of time. I don't know if it's going to be healing her or not, but in any case, this will be a very, very interesting effect to make her not die when she's supposed to die and can change the outcome of a fight in the Abyss, for example. Now, this triggers automatically when she has 1 HP and can only happen once every 60 seconds, which is actually pretty insane because if you can't not die every 1 minute, that sounds very, very broken to me. So guys, that's about it for the overview. Now, of course, this is all completely subject to change, and a lot of the translation will have to be refined to understand more in depth what it means. And obviously, we will see when she comes out what she looks like, because this is things that are testing right now. So they could be not liking some ability and change it completely. They could change the ratios or the percentages of anything because it's too strong or too weak. So we'll have to see what it looks like. So guys, thanks for watching. And make sure to subscribe to our channel if you want to stay updated with new upcoming leaks and information videos, as well as character guides and just tips in general that we upload every single day on the channel, as well as we stream every single day. So make sure to come hang out and ask us your questions directly. We also have a Discord server where we answer questions, talk with our community. There's over 3,000 people on it, as well as we sometimes go on your accounts, play the Abyss for you, or help you build your account. And we have hundreds of dollars worth of Genshin Impact giveaway prizes every single month to thank our community for supporting us. So make sure to go on the Discord and check it out if you want to participate as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.